Hey, what is going on everybody? It is Nolan, or the Optimistic Gamer here, and welcome back to the Optimistic Survival series. Today we are once again working on our North Pole build. Again, we are not building up there until December, but there is a lot of prep that we have to do. A couple episodes ago, we built a nether portal that takes us up to the top. We also built some bubble columns that we can see way up there. And of course, my favorite, the rocket launcher, the wind charge launcher that sends us way above the clouds and we can gracefully glide down to the bottom. But today we are building the fourth and final method of transport to get up there, and that is a basic walking path, or I guess once we get to the mountain, a hiking path. This is going to start right here from the town square, and it will venture across this nice flat, very walkable part before it starts to get into some of these small hills in front of the mountain, and then eventually we will just transition into a staircase that leads us all the way to the top. Now obviously we have a few different geographic features in here, perhaps some challenges such as this hole right here or a cave right here, so we definitely have some things to work on. I do actually want to kind of decorate some of these, and of course we can see our path to the bubble column. We are also going to finish that up today, but I do want to actually sort of decorate all of this, and this is gonna sound maybe a little bit crazy, but cover a good portion of this mountain with snow. Now obviously it is covered way up here at the top, but I'm talking basically all the way down to where we start to see the grass transition from this bluish color into the plains over there, that more vibrant green, basically where the biomes switch. So if we step down here right now, we are in the meadow, and as soon as we get to the plains, that is where right about here we can see that that grass is starting to switch colors, becoming a little bit more green, less blue. Basically, I want to cover all of this with snow and give us a very nice winter landscape up here. We will go in and plant some trees. We will do all of that. Again, there's a lot of work to be done up here, but for now, we are going to just be working on the path and covering this with snow. Now we will start again with the path right down here. This is going to follow a very similar pattern to our path in the past. It will be about 5 or 6 blocks wide, and it will just follow all the way up to, again, the base of the mountain here. And we will have buildings along here. We will be terraforming that out. I may even do that while we work on everything else as well. And we are actually going to be working on all of this in a live stream. By the time you are seeing this video, that live stream has already aired, but if you want to go back and watch that, that would be the live stream from Friday, depending on when this video goes up, whether it is Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, but you can go back and watch that. I keep all of them posted to the channel, but that is where we will be doing most of the work that we are going to see today. So we will get all of this grass removed from the ground right there, and that should leave us with a pretty good path that takes us closer to the mountain. We really don't need all of this grass, but I will grab it anyway. So again, this is going to start to work its way up. It will be path until about right here, and then we will transition into a staircase or just a steeper trail. And I do want this to blend in, so I think we will have our path. We may even go grab some netherrack, and we will have our path work its way up the mountain right here. I prefer doing this as opposed to what we've done down here. That way we can keep some of these natural contours in the land when we go to actually build it, and we don't forget where all of that stuff is. So I think this right here, we will probably level that out. Again, some of these smaller details, I'm not really sure what we have going on right here. We may just go ahead and fill this in with dirt as well, just to smooth things out a little bit. I'm more concerned about how the overall mountain looks as opposed to some of those smaller details. Again, if we look at this mountain, for example, from a distance, we can see a couple small impurities here and there, but looking at it as a whole, if we were to cover those up, it wouldn't change the overall look. And there we go. So we will start to make the path a little bit more narrow as we get closer to the base of the mountain here. It will start to close in on itself, and then eventually right about here again is where we will transition into the staircase slash hiking trail. We will see what ends up suiting this the best, but that will kind of turn like that and again follow its way up. Now I think what we're going to do for that is actually keep it pretty natural. We're going to stick with stone stairs, andesite stairs. I actually don't want to use any stone brick stairs. I want this to make it look, I want it to look like it has just been formed from the natural landscape and it's not actually man-made. It just kind of formed from people walking on it over hundreds of years or something like that. As for the path that this is going to follow, it will go up here, and then I think we may even wind it around right here and sort of curve it up in this direction, and then have it continue on right over here and maybe have a few switchbacks. Although it does get pretty steep, I bet we could probably just continue it along this side right here, all the way basically over to this end before it turns and kind of does the same thing. So we will do a number of switchbacks and just a very gradual path working up to the top. Again, things like this will get filled in. I'm not going to fill in the entire cave, of course. We will go in and light it up probably, but we are just going to cover the exposed section. And yeah, I think that would actually look really, really nice for us if we just wound back and forth all the way until we got to this flat region, which is about where the snow will begin. And at this point, we will probably have buildings and things like that, so a man-made path to get to the summit will probably be more likely up here. But I think for now, we will work on those switchbacks right here. We are going to fill in the path all the way up to the mountain, clean up some of these impurities, and I will be right back after a very long live stream, and we will check in on the progress that has been made. I will see all of you very soon. Well, a very successful stream it was. We are back and we have our path that extends up to the base of the mountain and then winds back and forth just as we had talked about, with those switchbacks going all the way up to a snowy part that has been extended down all the way to the top layer of that path. It roughly matches up with where the base of the snow on the adjacent mountain goes down to, right about there. Of course, this is a little bit lower, but overall it is pretty synchronized, and again, I think it turned out really, really nice. I think it gives us a great footprint to work with as we move forward building all of this. So of course the path right here, it is a combination of stone and andesite, stairs, slabs, and blocks. In some portions it gets pretty narrow. That is of course sort of a natural element, and of course steep in some parts as well. Of course, getting up this mountain was never going to be super easy. There's always going to be a little bit of danger involved in doing so. There are a couple more blocks that I just want to refine just a little bit, but generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with the overall look of this. I do want to even this out right here though, and just make that a little bit more rounded. Even though it does follow the design of the mountain, I just want to make it look a little bit more natural and less Minecraft-like. And then of course we get into our path right down here, all the way down to where we have our base camp set up here with our bed and shulker boxes. So that is our start on the mountain. Now, I didn't do as much terraforming as I thought I was going to, but that's okay. We will get around to that a little bit later. I think our next order of business is going to be widening this tunnel that takes us all the way through to our bubble columns right in here. I'm thinking maybe we will do 6 blocks wide on the inside, so all the way out to here and out to here, and then I want to give us enough space overhead to work with and have enough fun patterns and design. So I think we will go 5 blocks tall as well. We will probably set up a beacon to make this go a little bit faster, but this tunnel will go all the way out to the end, and then we will figure out a method for decorating it. So I'm gonna get all of this cleared out, and I will see all of you back here very shortly. And we are back once again. I actually decided to take an extra block on either side, so we are now 8 blocks wide and an additional block at the top. That way we could go in and fill in walls and the ceiling, and when we do that we won't have to actually clear out any more layers. We may still have to do the floor, since if we have a ceiling, say, right here, that might be a little bit low if we have a floor right there as well. Although that's 4 blocks, that isn't terrible. We will decide once we start to fill that in, and that is what we are going to work on next. So we are going to fill in this hallway with our Christmas themed blocks. So again, we are probably going to be using red and green wool, maybe get some white sprinkled in there as well. And we are just going to decorate this entire hallway all the way down to here, and then we will do some kind of fun ticket admissions or something like that over at this end. We can also go ahead and remove some of this stone. I did set up a beacon over here so that we could get haste and do that even faster. We are also out of firework rockets. It doesn't quite reach the edge of the tunnel, so I've had to go back and forth repeatedly to be able to do that, but it has definitely made all of this much more simple, and it was definitely worth setting that up. So we can quickly clear away all of this stone, and we are left with our doors to the bubble elevators right here. We might even do one more layer and maybe a second one here, although that is the edge of that block, so I think we will just end it right there. We can clear away the 2 middle blocks here, these 2 middle pillars. That will reveal that wall right there and right here as well. Of course, they don't really match the red and the green, but we will probably cover that up. So I'm gonna go grab all that wool and we will get to work on these walls. So what I'm thinking for this, as we gather out all of our wool here, is maybe not necessarily have just a rectangle, but sort of arch this just a little bit to give us a bit more shape. So if we do red wool there, and then turn it, and then have 4 here across the top like that, and then once again turn it like this, that will give us again a bit of an arch shape. Let's extend this out a few blocks, say maybe 4 in total. Is that something we like? I know we're seeing the arch from the outside, so it definitely does look like an arch, but when we are on the inside, that is what is going to matter, and I think that actually will work for us. We will want to remove this stone at the floor, I think, but that should work. We are going to do 5 blocks so that we have an odd number of blocks here. That will make it a little bit easier when we go to decorate the walls. So we will do something like that, and then we will alternate and do our green wool again for the same 5 block length. So now we have something looking like this. It is looking very festive, and we are going to continue this pattern all the way until we get to the end, and then we are going to stop a few blocks short. That is where we are going to transition into a bit of a different design. But this is going to extend out here to the front. This will go all the way down there to the end, and I will meet you back here once that is finished. Well, it certainly looks like an entrance to Santa Land, so we are sticking with it. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Of course, the lighting is temporary. We will get some better options put in just a moment. Let's go ahead and work on the floor. We are just going to remove all of this stone, and I'm thinking either white wool, or I also got the idea of maybe using calcite, but I don't know how much we have. So let's head back to our storage building and take a look. If we don't have very much, I don't think we're going to set out for it today. We may try to go find some in the future, but for now then we would just use white wool since we definitely have an abundance of it, and we do just have 14 calcite. So we will stick with the white wool. It should look just fine. The whole purpose of the calcite would have been for a change in the texture since we have so much wool already, but we can always go back and change it, especially with our shears that can do instant mine. So we are going to get this floor replaced with white wool, and then our entrance will be just about finished. And there we have it. I decided to mix things up a little bit, and rather than just a solid white floor, we have these diagonal stripes of alternating white and red to really give us that candy cane look. Now it is time to build a sign. I'm excited for this part. This should be really fun. We are going to build just a sign with 2 pillars on each side and sort of an arch going over the top. Now, of course, the beacon is not going to be here, but our wind charge booster will, so that will be included in our sign. We will have that and the trail over here. So it's going to be a fairly large sign. It's going to cover this whole space from the wind charge. Maybe not go out this far, although I don't know. We will see how this turns out. So the way this is going to look is we are going to again have that candy cane. You know what? I think we will actually end up having a large sign like that. So we will have our candy cane pattern once again, starting maybe right here. And this is just going to alternate between red and white wool, just like this. I think we will see how this looks once we get a few rows put up, but we may actually want to do an even larger pillar than this. We kind of get that swirl, but because those are connected diagonal and that one, it's hard to really sell that look. So we are going to make this pillar even larger. So what we will instead try is a 3 block wide section right here in the front. And then we will have this turn right here. That will be 3 blocks. We will figure out the swirl here in just a second, but this will be the size of our pillar. And I think it might even be easier if we build up a few layers in white first, and then we will go in with our red and figure out how we want this swirl to look. And the other question is, do we want it right up against the path? I guess it doesn't really matter. I think we will stick with this. So that will be the size of the pillar, and then the way the swirl will look, I think we will do maybe 2... Actually, we might keep it the same as that candy cane shape, so we will do that we did for the floor inside. So that was 3 blocks, and then it just goes diagonally to the next block over. I really shouldn't be worried about collecting every single piece of wool that we drop, given how much we have. Something like this, and then again it will go up in this direction, just like that, and continue around, and you get the idea of this pattern. I just want to make sure it looks good from a distance. I think it will, though. I think this is working out for us quite nicely, I would say so. Also, I think this will allow us to do a second swirl on this side. Let's get up here and figure that out. So if we have 3 and then 3 right here, we would have 3 more red wool here as well. Yeah, I think this is going to work, and then we will just continue this pattern going all the way up. We'll get a few more blocks put on here, and then we will step back from this and see if we are getting a design that we like. And let's get the rest of this side put down here as well. Alright, now we can step back from this and see how it looks. Yes, that's not bad, I like that. Again, very large for the pillar, but I think, again, the sign will be pretty big. We will go up a little bit taller with that, maybe, 5 or 10 more blocks, probably not 10, closer to 5, and then we will repeat that over here on this side. We will remove the beacon. No sense in really having that anymore. We are done with all of our digging. I think we might scoot this over just a little bit more though, just to give us a little bit more space from the path. Alright, our 2 candy cane pillars are finished. Again, it's a lot larger than I thought it was going to be, but I think it is going to work out for us. The next step will be to put a couple toppers on each of these. We are going to use blackstone and make some spheres, and then we are going to have a large sign that goes across. Maybe it will give us enough space to actually write out North Pole, given how big the sign is going to be. But let's go grab some blackstone and get to work on that, and then we will make the arch, and I think we will be just about finished. Alright, so this will start here with the base. We will do a 3x3, just like that, and then it will extend up and out diagonally by 1, and then out again and go up by 3, just like that. It will do that on all 4 sides, just like that, and then we will extend these going around, and then we will do the same thing going around on this edge right here. We will do one more diagonal in between those as well, so it will look like that stepping back. Of course, we are seeing this from the inside. Once we see it from the outside, we will really see that spherical shape. And then we will just repeat what we did down below. So that row going all the way across, and then 3x3 across the top. Let's fly down here, grab that blackstone that we dropped, and fly away and have a look at this. That might be a little bit tall. We may need to extend the wall up one more block just so it is flush with the bottom of the sphere. And what I mean by that is have our 2 red wool there. Can we get through on that? We will have to place a block. That's okay. Oh, it might be easier to get some scaffolding, but I think that is a little bit better if we fill the wool in all the way up to the bottom of that pillar. Maybe we can actually just fly down to the inside of it, enter in from the top right here, and then remove these blocks going around. That will be a little bit easier for us. Plus, we will get some of that blackstone back. We actually don't have a whole lot. In fact, we are going to need to make another trip to the nether here in just a moment to get a little bit more, but we are going to be close. So now we can pick up all of the blocks there on the ground, and now when we fly back and take a look at this, that should look a little bit better. It does, in my opinion at least. So we are going to repeat that over here on this side and then have an arch. This is way larger than I thought it was going to be. It's okay, it kind of fits the scale of this area over here. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. I'm going to go grab some blackstone real quick, and then we'll work on that arch and call it a day. And there's pillar number 2. So now we are going to connect these in a big arch going across the top. It may not be super arced. I think we are just going to keep it somewhat level, just nice and wide across the top, maybe 3 or 4 blocks tall. And I think we will also do this with blackstone just to keep things consistent with the top. Alright, so I just kind of went across 1, 1, 2, I think that's 5, 5, and 7. So now we are going to step back over near these pillagers and see how that looks. I think that is pretty good actually. So we are going to do that same pattern, this time a little bit closer to the top, and we are going to leave the inside of it hollowed out in case we want to add some letters or something later on. For now though, I think we are just going to do this and then end it right here. So it again will be 1 and then 1 and then 2, and we're gonna have to get up on top of here to finish that off. And we need just a little bit more blackstone from the nether, but that is how that is going to look. So we still need to figure out something to fill in between the blackstone, but I think that is a great start for us. That is where we are going to end things for today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, we are getting closer and closer to December and the holiday season, so stay tuned for the development of our North Pole. Of course, we also have episode 100 approaching very quickly, and that will be the reveal for the museum. So lots coming up. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any of it. and leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed it. Check the description for some more important information, links, how to contact me, all of that good stuff. And with all of that being said, comment, like, subscribe, remember to stay optimistic, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye!